Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayaudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 30, verse number 19. Okay, if anybody would like to read the verse, you could raise your hand. No one is raising the hand then. Chitra Mohini Mataji, go ahead, please. Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Gruheshva avishatam chapi. Gruheshva avishatam chapi pumsam kushalakarmanam. Madhvavartayatayamana na bandhaya gruha mataha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Griheshu in family life. Avishatam, who have entered, cha also, api even, pumsam of persons, kushala karmanam, engaged in auspicious activities, madvarta, in topics about me, yata is expended, yamanam, whose every moment, not, bandhaya for bondage, griha, household life, mataha, considered. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who are engaged in auspicious activities in devotional service certainly understand that the ultimate. One second. Sorry. Those who are engaged in auspicious activities in devotional service certainly understand that the ultimate enjoyer or beneficiary of all activities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, when one acts, he offers the results to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and passes life always engaged in the topics of the Lord. Even though such a person may be participating in family life, he is not affected by the results of his actions. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Generally, a person living in a family becomes overly attached to fruitive activity. In other words, he tries to enjoy the results of his activities. A devotee, however, knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and the supreme proprietor. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. You came so late. Consequently, the devotee does not consider himself the proprietor. The devotee does not consider himself the proprietor. Therefore, the results of his business are offered to the Supreme Lord. One who thus lives in the material world with his family and children never become affected by the contaminations of the material world. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 9. Yagnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. One who tries to enjoy the results of his activities becomes bound by the results. One who offers the results or profits to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, does not become entangled in the results. This is the secret of success. Generally, people take sannyas to become free from the reactions of fruitive activity. One who does not receive the results of his actions but offers them instead to the Supreme Personality of Godhead certainly remains in a liberated condition. In Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami confirms this. Iha yasya hare dase karmana manasa gira nikhilashvapi avasthashu jivan mukta sa uchyate. If one engages in the service of the Lord through his life, wealth, words, intelligence, and everything he possesses, he will always be liberated in any condition. Such a person is called Jivan Mukta, one who is liberated during this lifetime. Devoid of Krishna consciousness, those who engage in material activities simply become more entangled in material bondage. They have to suffer and enjoy the actions and reactions of all activity. This Krishna consciousness movement is therefore the greatest boon to humanity because it keeps one always engaged in Krishna's service. The devotees think of Krishna, act for Krishna, eat for Krishna, sleep for Krishna, and work for Krishna. Thus, everything is engaged in the service of Krishna. A total life in Krishna consciousness saves one from material contamination. As stated by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Krishna bhajane yaha hai anukul. Vishaya baliye tyage taha hai bhul. If one is so expert that he can engage everything or dowtail everything in the service of the Lord, to give up the material world would be a great blunder. One should learn how to dowtail everything in the service of the Lord, for everything is connected to Krishna. That is the real purpose of life and secret of success. As reiterated later in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 19. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hi acharan karma param apnoti purushaha. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, but by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. The third chapter of Bhagavad Gita specifically considers material activities for the purpose of sense gratification and material activities for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. The conclusion is that these are not one and the same. Material activities for sense gratification are the cause of material bondage, whereas the very same activities for the satisfaction of Krishna are the cause of liberation. How the same activity can be the cause of bondage and liberation can be explained as follows. One may get indigestion due to eating too much milk preparation, condensed milk, sweet rice, and so on. But even though there is indigestion or diarrhea, another milk preparation, yogurt mixed with black pepper and salt, will immediately cure these maladies. In other words, one milk preparation can cause indigestion and diarrhea, and another milk preparation can cure them. If one is placed in material opulence due to special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he should not consider that opulence a cause for bondage. When a mature devotee is blessed with material opulence, he does not become affected adversely, for he knows how to employ material opulence in the service of the Lord. There are many such examples in the history of the world. There were kings like Prithu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak, Dhruv, Vivasvita Manu, and Maharaj Ikshvaku. All of these were great kings and were specifically favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If a devotee is not mature, the Supreme Lord will take away all his opulence. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead states, Yasyaham anugrinami harishye tadhanam shane. The first mercy shown to my devotee is to take away all his material opulence. Material opulence detrimental to devotional service is taken away by the Supreme Lord, whereas a person who is mature in devotional service is given all material facilities. Amazing. ज्ञान तिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जन शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा गदा मह्यम ददाति सवदान्तिकम. हे कृष्ण कर्ण सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांथा राधा कांधा नमस्ते. तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी पुष्पानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Those who are engaged in auspicious activities in devotional service certainly understand that the ultimate enjoyer or beneficiary of all activities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, when one acts, he offers the results to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and passes life always engaged in the topics of the Lord. Even though such a person may be participating in family life, He's not affected by the results of his actions. Right, we're reading from 4th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Creation of the Fourth Order, chapter number 30, which is named as what? The activities of the... Thank you very much. The activities of the Prachetas. So very important instruction. We are at the place where Krishna has appeared to the sons of Prachina Bharishat and is giving them benedictions. For he's very pleased by the austerities that they all have performed. And more so, not just the austerities, but also the union between the brothers is very pleasing to Krishna on the foundation or on one principle of Krishna consciousness or serving Krishna. So that actually has pleased Krishna a lot. So far we have discussed many topics in this chapter, very instructive chapter, that Krishna is, first benediction he's giving is that your fame will be spread all over the world. Then they'll have a son, Vishurata, who will be more powerful than Brahma. And then he's instructing that marry the daughter of Pramalocha and King Kandu, a sage Kandu, for she's also good, equally good in the qualities. And then he's instructing that, okay, you will be given all the material opulences for 1 million years, and those 1 million years are the years of the demigods, and you'll be given all material facilities, all enjoyments, but he's also giving this instruction that you will not be attached to those opulences, and and you will attain pure devotional service to me, and at the end of your life you'll come back to me. So there's a lot of assurance given from all viewpoints, and Krishna is encouraging the Prachetas to accept the order of their father to marry, to create progeny, and also to run a kingdom. And this is how a devotee acts. We are acting. There's a difference between getting absorbed in a character and acting in a character. Like Prabhupada explains this, even Queen Kunti in one of the prayers says, Maya Javanika Channam. Who knows that verse? Maya Javanika Channam. Is it 118?
Yes, Maya Javanika Channam Adya Yokshaja Avyayam.
Then not, then what is it? Like the word is used as not.
Na lakshya se mooda drisha nato natya dharo
Nato nata.
dharo yatha.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. So, why am I opening Bhagavad Gita? I'm sorry. It's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, right? Chapter 8 is Queen's Kunti prayer. I think it's at verse number 19. Yes, verse number 19. Maya Javanika Channam Agyad Adhokshajam Avyayam Na Lakshaye Mudadrisha Nato Natya Dharo Yataha. So you're invisible to foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So the point I'm trying to make is that there's a difference between attached and absorbed in a character and playing a character. So Krishna is encouraging you, play the part, but don't become so absorbed in it. And it's not easy. It's not easy because we tend to become absorbed. The whole identity and the whole existence revolves around what am I identifying myself as? If I'm identifying myself as a part of the family, part of this community, part of this country, part of this job, part of this educational stream, part of a gender, there's so many identities that one person is carrying. And then one becomes attached. Attachment means, what is the difference between attachment and what is the difference between playing a part? What is your understanding? I want to know. Attached, because Prabhupada has used this word attached in yesterday's verse also, and Prabhupada is using this verse 3-4 times in this particular verse also, that don't be attached. Play the part, but don't be attached. What does attachment mean? Raise your hand and answer.
Getting involved, yes, completely. Getting involved, getting merged into that.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
When you are acting, you are indifferent to what happens to that actor. When you are
Ah.
attached, you are totally attached even to whatever happens to that character.
Okay. Thank you. Murlidhar Prabhu.
Attachment is permanent, whereas playing the part is temporary.
Okay, make a good point that you can snap in and snap out of the character. Okay, thank you. Madhumai Krishnakanta Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, attachment means involved so much that he feels he cannot live without that.
Mhm.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Okay, so yes, very, very good answers. Everyone is kind of trying to get a point that that I become so absorbed. Like Prabhupada gives example of a dream, right? In the dream, if somebody is visualizing a tiger is running behind the person, and totally becomes absorbed in that dream, then there is increase in heart rate. There is fear, which is felt in the subtle body. There may be sweating also. So there are all these things happening. But what is the best treatment of such a dream? What is the best antidote? What's the best way to
Wake
get
up.
rid of this dream? Wake up. We read this in the previous
Wake up.
verses too. Wake up to the reality that this is a dream. So unless and until we actually wake up to the reality that I'm not the proprietor, we will be dreaming. There is no option because we are conditioned. Every conditioned soul is designed in such a manner that we want to forget Krishna. Krishna helps and arranges through the agency of the material energy to aid in that forgetfulness. But if we make a conscious effort of not forgetting Krishna, then the ropes are slackened. Then we feel a little more fresh in our existence, right? So, and Krishna has given these instructions on how not to become attached. That doesn't mean that one is not going to work, one is not going to act. We are going to act, but we are not going to become attached. Why? Because the result of the activity is something which is offered to Krishna, whatever the result may be. Prabhupada gives example of book distribution, right? Book distribution. One time, Prabhupada said that if Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, well, these are two different examples. Srila Prabhupada, I'll give you one example from Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada mentions, and then what Srila Prabhupada said. That somebody goes on book distribution, and then they are able to sell maybe like 2 annas worth of literature. That's a huge success according to Srila Prabhupada, that you were able to do so much for Krishna. And Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, whenever somebody would write an article, and Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada would have to proofread it and approve it for publication. Srila Prabhupada tells us that what was the basis on which Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was choosing the article? What did he say? Who knows that? What did he say? Nobody knows. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, yes, Sujata Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, that Siddhanta Prabhuji said that if there's just a word of Krishna in the article, that's enough.
So,
Mention
yeah,
of
so
Krishna.
yeah, thank you. This is how many times this person has mentioned Krishna. Is not interested in a lot of literary knowledge, but how many times this person has mentioned the word Krishna. And if somebody has mentioned the word Krishna many times, very nice article. The person will read the article and they'll be reciting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna so many times. So basically, 50% of the problem is solved if we recognize what the problem is. This is actually true in our every domain. 50% of the problem is solved if we understand what the problem is. And what is the problem here? The problem is that I'm becoming very attached. Right? I gave example of the lawyer C.R. Das, who actually, when Mahatma Gandhi asked him to boycott the British court, and then his salary got cut down to 500 rupees per month, he he didn't live long. He died because of the shock, because of this attachment. And Prabhupada also gives example of a very rich man in India who Prabhupada said he saw him leaving his body and he was requesting the doctor to give him at least 4 more years so he can finish his projects, not knowing that nobody can actually give even 1 more second than what is destined. So basically, even at the time of death, one is in a very sorry situation. The attachment to the material activities and the results leads us to a very sorry situation. It's a very pity situation to be in. But one is acting on behalf of Krishna and is fully aware that I'm acting on behalf of Krishna, eating for Krishna, sleeping for Krishna. Right? Prabhupada mentions here very nicely, a devotee is always thinking of Krishna. Whatever a devotee does is doing it for Krishna. What are some of the activities that Prabhupada was mentioning? Eating for Krishna, acting for Krishna, thinking for Krishna, working for Krishna. Then he knows that, okay, or she knows that Krishna is the motivation behind the activity, and Krishna is the supreme benefactor and beneficiary of the results of the activity. I am just carrying on the order. To develop such high level of devotional service, one needs the direction of a spiritual master. We cannot like imagine or speculate that what pleases Krishna. So much so that if you want to, let's say, approach a very big man of country, let's say, want to approach a very big minister of the country, then one needs to follow a procedure. Or can you just barge into their house? Here you are. Can you just barge into the house of a big minister? Here you are, or you have to follow the procedure?
We have to follow the procedure, Mataji.
Follow the procedure.
We have to follow the procedure, right? We just can't like barge into and go and like ring the bell of their house. And how do we follow the procedure? The procedure is given by the government, which is run by the people who are experts in this area. Like that, if I want to please Krishna, I just can't barge in and disturb him. To follow the procedure. And that following of the procedure is taught by the process of parampara. And in a bona fide parampara, a spiritual master is acting as a guide. So one actually needs to have a spiritual, it's a need, it's not a want. It's a need of a human being who is trying to go to Krishna, to have a spiritual master who can give guidance and who can also verify that the steps that I'm taking are right or wrong, because I can be doing something. And that may be completely in the modes of material nature. Okay, so the art is to dovetail everything to Krishna. And how do we do that? By following the procedure of the parampara. And how do I know whether I'm following the procedure properly? That depends on if we have a bona fide spiritual master or not. Now, the question may be raised, how do you know that the spiritual master is bona fide? Yes, there are procedures to test that as well. But one of the, in Nectar of Devotion, Srupa Goswami Prabhupada mentions 5 most important activities in progressing in Krishna consciousness. And one of the 5 most important activities is to have a spiritual master. Is to have a spiritual master. I'm not making it up. It's not that I'm speaking from my mind, but I'm also giving you the references from the Shastras. And we cannot change. We are not more than Rupa Goswami, or we are not more than Srila Prabhupada in making assumptions or not following the process. Okay, so do the activity. I wanted to bring this verse up. It's a very nice verse from First Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, which is when Krishna is departing from the material world. Verse 9, Yudhishthira Maharaj is speaking this verse. And the verse is this: Yasman naha sampatu rajyam dhara pranakulam praja asan saptana vijayo lokascha yadanu. From him only all our kingly opulence, good wives, lives, progeny, control over our subjects, victory over our enemies, and future accommodations in higher planets have been possible. All this is due to his causeless mercy upon us. I'm going to read the purport. It's a small purport, but very instructive purport and very relevant. I found it relevant to the topic that we're discussing here. Prabhupada is writing, material prosperity consists of a good wife, good home, sufficient land, good children, aristocratic family relations, victory over competitors, and by pious work, attainment of accommodations in the higher celestial planets for better facilities of material amenities. These facilities are earned not only by one's hard manual labor or by unfair means, but by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Prosperity earned by one's personal endeavor also depends on the mercy of the Lord. Personal labor must be there in addition to Lord's benediction. But without the Lord's benediction, no one is successful simply by personal labor. The modernized man in Kali Yuga believes in personal endeavor and denies the benediction of the Supreme Lord. Even a great sannyasi of India delivered speeches in Chicago protesting the benediction of the Supreme Lord. But as far as Vedic Shastras are concerned, as we find in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, the ultimate sanction for all success rests in the hands of the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Yudhishthira admits this truth in his personal success, and it behooves one to follow in the footsteps of a great king and devotee of the Lord to make his life a full success. If one could achieve success without sanction of the Lord, then no medical practitioner would fail to cure a patient. Despite the most advanced treatments of a suffering patient by the most up-to-date medical practitioner, there is death. And even in most hopeless cases, without medical treatment, a patient is cured astonishingly. Therefore, the conclusion is that God's sanction is the immediate cause for all happenings, good or bad. Any successful man should feel grateful to the Lord for all he has achieved. Okay, so this is in relation to the last paragraph of this particular verse where Prabhupada is saying that if a devotee is mature, then all material benediction is given to that devotee because Krishna trusts that the person has learned this art of doubting everything in my service. So it's nothing is bad. We're not going to run away from the material world because we cannot find Krishna here. We can find, everything belongs to Krishna. But if somebody is immature and does not know how to use this in Krishna's service, then Krishna interferes and takes it away because it is detrimental to devotional service. Now that is a real test. Okay, Krishna, there's one verse which actually every day I think of this verse and every day I try to understand the meaning and every day I get astonished. The verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, Matra sparshas sukhanteya sitoshna sukha dukkadaha, right? Agama paino anitya stam titikshasu bharata. So when Krishna says sitoshna sukha dukkadaha, what does it mean? Sitoshna sukha dukkadaha. This line goes in my head for years and years that this is amazing. What does it mean? Sitoshna sukha dukkadaha. What does it mean?
In happiness and
Mataji,
miseries.
involved in hate and happiness and unhappiness.
So, what happiness and distress? What do you do? Sitoshna means what?
We have to be sthir.
Whatever with the circumstances, we have to be stay like calm, like we can say like that.
Thank you.
We need to tolerate.
Tolerance.
Yes. So tolerate. Krishna is saying tolerate both. Okay, in material world, because it is a reflection, because we are not completely understanding our own existence in all dimensions, what do we usually say? When do we tell each other to tolerate what? When do most people tell each other to tolerate what? What do we say? Tolerate happiness or tolerate distress? What do we say?
When you're in pain.
Tolerate distress.
Tolerate distress, pain.
Yeah,
Pain.
right. So we most often, all over the world, the quality of tolerance is taught at the time of distress. If there is a pain, or if there is something which is sadness, grief, okay, tolerate. But nobody is saying that tolerate the happiness. We are happy in your life right now, just tolerate. Yeah, has anyone said that to you ever? You're so
No.
happy in your
No,
life. You are
Mataji.
doing
No,
good.
no.
Mataji.
Your house is good. Your career is
No.
good. Your health is good. Your children are good.
No.
Your bank balance is good. Tolerate. Just tolerate.
Never, never.
No, right? But Krishna says this. Supreme Personality of Godhead says this. Tolerate. Just let it be. So that is a quality of how not to become attached for me. That, okay, tolerate. Don't get so attached that, okay, I have so much or don't have anything. Nothing. In both the cases, sitoshana sukha dukkha daha. Tolerate. Why tolerate? I'll tolerate anything, but I have to have a purpose. Why tolerate? What is the driving principle behind cultivating the quality of tolerance in a devotee's life? In a non-devotee's life, the tolerance is mostly in detrimental situations of life so that the time will change and there will be some happiness coming with the time in future. Right? There's always like a rain check for future happiness. So they tolerate. We have to tolerate. Everybody has to tolerate. But the tolerance is in the non-devotee's life is so that the time will change and there will be a wave of happiness. But what is the purpose or motivation of cultivating the quality of tolerance in a devotee's life? Yeah. Tell me.
Tolerance actually prevents the ups and downs that occurs with either happiness or miseries. And that only allows you to ultimately end up into what they call Sthita Dhira Muni. So to ultimately achieve the quality of a Sthita Dhira Muni, you got to be tolerant for all the ups and all the downs and still keep you calm and quiet.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Prem Prakash Haridas Prabhu. Dr. Avasthi, yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, I feel so like we need to be tolerant because somewhere Satogun is related to it. Ultimately, to develop the quality of by developing the quality of tolerance, we are ultimately paying our way towards developing Satogun, and that is the way through which we are able to achieve pure bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Sattvagun. So you're making pure devotional service dependent on the Sattvagun. Okay, thank you, Vatsi. Okay. I agree to some part of what you said, but I don't understand it fully. But thank you. Sujata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, by tolerating we accept whatever we get from the Lord. We accept that this is what the Lord is giving us. That's the quality we develop, isn't it, Mataji?
So tolerance is directly related to acceptance. Thank you. R. Vijay Kumari Mataji. R. Vijay Kumari Mataji.
Mataji, we must wait some time. We must confidence with Krishna. He will change in some time. We will wait for tolerance.
Wait for what, Mataji?
Coming good. If it is a bad thing is happened, we must wait. The good action will come.
What about if something good is happening? Then what should we do?
See, if anybody had pregnant, his pain is coming. He wait for some time tolerance. And then he gave birth to child, he feel happy.
But Mataji, what about, okay, now when somebody is happy, then what to do? Don't tolerate the happiness?
Yes, happy is coming. The pain will go out.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Madhumai Krishna Kant Mataji. Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Mataji, in tolerance in devotee's life is for both for material distress as well as the material happiness. In material distress, the devotee thinks that I deserve more distress because I must have done more sins. But God is so merciful that He has given a little difficulty to me, and that's why I'm able to tolerate it. In case of happiness, he thinks that I don't deserve this happiness, but it's all because of God's mercy, I have this happiness. In both the situations, he tolerates. Hare Krishna. Tattena kampa sushami kshamanam. In that it is given. Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Chitra Mohini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. This leads to unattachments, like the attachment becomes less and less, whether it is happy or this thing painful. So by tolerating the attachment goes down, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Tolerance means bearing, Mataji. We bear everything.
But I'm asking, what is the purpose in devotee's life to tolerate happiness and distress? For what purpose will I do that?
The purpose
Tolerance
of
can handle many situations, bad situations.
Shubhara
good
Prabhu.
situation.
Go ahead.
The purpose of reaching Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the process one has to use tolerance.
So the purpose is to go to Krishna. Okay, thank you. Mullidhar Prabhu.
We should tolerate happiness so that we should not get, we should not forget about Krishna.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Madhu Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. By tolerating, one can stop or break the chain of action and reaction. We don't create any new kind of action or karma. So we don't.
Just by tolerating, one can break the chain of action and reaction. Just by tolerating.
The process, Mataji. One of the process, one of the steps towards reaching Krishna, Mataji. It's like one of the process to get. Sorry, Mataji.
Yeah, that's good, Mataji, but we have to go more deep because one cannot fake tolerance. You know, there are people who fake tolerance. Inside, they are like burning, like bursting like a volcano, but outside, we put up a face that I'm very calm and quiet. But that fakeness or deceit is not going to work in Krishna consciousness. So, what kind of tolerance are we talking about? Anyway, you bring up another topic. Thank you. Maheshwari Mataji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna Mata. Hare Krishna Mataji. By developing the tolerance, one will be in a devotee's life. It will help to develop the taste for that is for higher taste actually. That is towards the Krishna consciousness. So that's what I feel, Mataji. So
What kind of higher taste or higher qualities one will develop? Can you more deep? Go more
high
deep.
qualities actually, like we have that is what are that towards the knowledge and the divine qualities will be that is one of the quality. Tolerance is also one of the quality. We can develop the simplicity, we can accept the things, these type of things we need to. Forgiveness, and then not moving into the fault finding phase, all those things and all we will be able to develop, Mataji. So we'll be able to develop the quality towards the higher taste. So that's how the tolerance. Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Nice answer. Prafulla Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. By developing quality of tolerance, we can proceed towards, we'll be equipoised, Mataji. We'll try to be equipoised towards happiness and distress. We can be indifferent and unattached.
But why do I want to be equipoised?
Distress and happiness.
Why should I attempt to become equipoised? What's the real deal?
So that we'll progress towards spiritual development, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so thank you. Very nice answers, everyone. But
Tolerance. Excuse me, madam. Hare Krishna Mataji. Tolerance is something like accepting with no interference from us.
Okay, so you are saying tolerance leads to the development of quality of Krishna's plans in one's life. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Mataji, it will not divert us from any devotional services, any case. It won't divert us from the devotional
So
services.
okay, so we
Yeah.
actually have that, what is that verse in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Vyavasatmika buddhi, eke he Kurunandana. So we develop
Yes.
focused attention.
Yes,
Okay,
we are
thank you.
focused.
Okay,
Hare
thank
Krishna.
you. Very nice. Very nice. So and also by tolerance, by developing the quality of tolerance in both happiness and distress, one actually marches towards development of higher qualities, which could mean everything that everyone else said, but also the quality of gratitude. There's so much gratitude. Prabhupada is writing in this verse, the last line. Therefore, the conclusion is that God's sanction is the immediate cause for all happenings, good or bad. Okay, good or bad. Any successful man should feel grateful to the Lord for all he has achieved. So one develops this notion, okay, I have something good or something bad going on in my life, but this is not happening without Krishna's sanction. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that at least there is Krishna's sanction in these activities. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying that this is something to aspire for, at least theoretically. And also the quality of tolerance also leads to a quality of humility. Now, I'm not saying humility means no self-esteem. No, humility means not having a desire to earn respect and prestige from others. That's humility, right? It doesn't mean that one doesn't have a self-esteem. A devotee has a very high self-esteem because they're devotee of Krishna. Like a gatekeeper of a very rich man is also has some sense of self-esteem that I'm working for such a big man, right? So if a devotee of Krishna moving around in this world has a very high self-esteem because their self is connected to the super self always, in all situations. And that self-esteem is very respectful, very dignified self-esteem. Okay, so this is the beginning of a very nice discussion that how attachment is different than playing the part. Play the part, what British Prabhupada says, disinterested obligatory duty. Do it. Accept that I am affected by the mode of this material nature and I have these kind of desires. Accept it. That's also a surrender to Krishna. And okay, I want to come to you, but I have this, I accepted, and by your mercy, I have received all these things. Now give me the quality of tolerance so I can tolerate more happiness and distress, so I can actually become equipoised, more humble, more grateful, and always be aware that I am always different than whatever is happening around me. Always. And it's very important to meditate. I have seen, or maybe I was also like that at some point in Krishna consciousness, that when somebody joins the movement, there is this intense desire. We come with a baggage, right? Because it's a hospital. But there is this intense desire for recognition. I've seen it many times. I want to be recognized as a nice devotee, recognized as a nice kirtanaire, recognized as a nice cook, as a nice pujari, as a nice reciter of the shlokas, or recognized as a well-dressed devotee, whatever. That is also detrimental in one's Krishna consciousness. Outwardly, one may be performing a devotional service, but inwardly, I may be feeding my false ego that I am so good in this particular service. That's different than having a high self-esteem. That's totally different. There's so subtle differences. And the baggage of material existence is so like deep rooted in our consciousness that we can actually go on in Krishna consciousness and we may not even move an inch in Krishna consciousness. We may dress up like a devotee, chant Hare Krishna, we will not make any move towards Krishna because the baggage is so heavy. So that is why association of devotees, that is why openness to become receptive to feedback and grow is very important. Very important. Okay, and all of us who have stayed in the movement, for decades have gone through that pain, that growing pains, and still going through. So be ready. Okay, I think I discussed this when I joined ISKCON, and on Sundays, I was very new. I was very like 20. Now, how many years ago? 22 years ago. Very, very new. And the morning Aarti, Govindam Adipurusham used to go on. And then I memorized the verses without reading the verses, just by hearing Jamna Mataji singing. And then I would stand in front of the deities, and there came a time in my life where I would start, chanting these Govinda Purusham prayers when the tape will go on in the morning Darshanati. And in my heart, that I could feel a wave of pride that, oh my God, I'm so good that I actually memorized these verses just by hearing it in the tape once or twice a week that I come to the temple. So my God. But then in our temple, in Mangalore, Damanishta Prabhu is very strong and very adamant about doing very nice kirtan. Yeah, have you ever been to Mangalore temple and you have attended the Sunday program? The main focus is kirtan, and the kirtan would go on for 1 hour, 2 hour. Sometimes we'll be exhausted, like 1 hour, 2 hour kirtan, but we'll still go on and doing kirtan. One day this came to my heart that I'm so proud. Krishna's mercy, Krishna's mercy, the Dami Buddhi Yogam, maybe I was sincere at that time, that I'm so proud that I'm actually standing in front of the deities and I'm thinking that I'm so good. What kind of a darshan is this? What kind of a darshan is this? So Krishna purified the heart. That's why I'm able to speak about it today. And I'm completely purified from that pride, that element of pride at that moment. And I could feel such a sense of relief that thank God that I'm not carrying this, that, oh my God, I could recite this, I could remember this, nothing matters. What really matters, what really, really, really matters is how sincere you are in your own personal journey in going back to Godhead. How sincere. And that's very confidential between the soul and the super soul. It's a very confidential relationship. Okay, so understand the difference between absorption and attachment and playing the role, and understand that how Krishna is the ultimate proprietor, ultimate benefactor, ultimate beneficiary. And also understand that one must learn in the association of devotees, not alone, association of devotees, how to cultivate the quality of tolerance, both in happiness and distress. Tomorrow, if you pass a very big exam, then rather than going and party, tolerate. Okay, I've passed this exam, now how can I serve Krishna or actually go and serve the devotee?